Hey, welcome to New Jump City, everybody, where we recap the week in American and Japanese sequential art. I am your host, Christian Espinal, and joining me through Discord, it is the man, the myth, the legend. It is Joshua Gangsta Time Cole.
Partner, but it should be called Gangsta Time.
What up, Chris?
Hello, friend. Yeah, we're back for our part 2 of episode 93, where we are going to talk about Undead Unluck. Welcome it to the lineup. You guys all voted, and now here it is. We're going to do a quick series overview, general thoughts about the whole thing, and then on Thursday, as per usual, an actual, official NJC episode will be released. But until then, let's get things started. You can find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Joshua Cole, where can they find you?
At JD Cole_37 on Instagram as well.
Yeah. You can follow the show itself at New Jump City on Twitter and Instagram. Do that now, because at the time of this recording, I will be putting up the audience RGC poll where you guys could vote on your favorite chapter of the week. You can follow our producer, who is not here at the moment, Edgelord Big News, Brian, at b.esp on Twitter and Instagram. Also follow his Twitch stream, twitch.tv/itspunchline. Email the show at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, anything you guys want to talk to us about. And I think, if you're listening on iTunes, give us a 5-star review. Spotify, follow us on that. We're subscribe to us on YouTube, like, comment, all that jazz. And without further ado, spoiler alerts ahead. Let's get into Undead Unluck. This is a manga by Tozuka. I forgot his first name, but he's I don't know how new he is. I don't know if he's done anything before, but this is a very fun story. It starts off this kind of action romance type of story where there's this immortal, undying person whose name is not officially known yet. And he links up with this girl who, at the start of the series, is trying to kill herself because she has this power that if anybody touches her, depending on how much she likes them or how close she is, but just in general, if anybody touches her, like bare skin, terrible misfortune falls upon her. Her name is Fuko, a power called Unluck, basically. She's basically, I guess, Black Cat, right? She has luck powers. So this undead guy, his whole thing is that or
Domino.
Yeah, Domino. He tries to touch her, and he's trying to die this whole series. He's just trying to look for a thing that can actually kill him. And at some point, he latches onto this idea that he tries to experiment with her rules. As we go down the line, we learn that these people are known as negators, who are able to just kind of break the laws of the universe as it stands. Unluck is, she breaks the rules of luck. Undead breaks the rule of death because he can't die. So he tries to figure out, okay, what are the rules within her rules? Is it where you touch her, how long you touch her, that, that has a direct correlation to the bad luck that you get. And it turns out it is because the more she likes you and the more connected she feels to you, your luck gets worse if you touch her. So his whole goal for the series is to get her to basically fall in love with him so that he can experience the worst stroke of unluck possible.
In the hopes that it destroys him.
Yeah, basically.
It's definitely unique as far as the
as far as the series goes. This is a relatively new series. It's only 47 chapters to this point. We haven't read the 47th chapter. I'm up to the 46th. The new one just came out today at the time of this recording. The intro arc is basically on them meeting and them running into this organization called the Union, which is made up of negators like them. There's 10 of them at any given time. And they're basically permanently going to be on the hunt for them unless they can kill one of these negators and take their spot in this round table. So that's immediately their goal. Yeah, they managed to knock off the one of these guys. He doesn't spend a lot of time in the series because he pretty much dies in this first arc.
Big armor guy.
Yeah, big armor dude, generic armor man. And this other guy, this Chinese feller, who's like think like number 7 or something. He's the nonchalant character, like, oh, this is fun fighting, all that stuff. He gets to live, but he kind of gives them a hint as to where they can kill the next one, which is weird. He just like totally sells out one of his own, and they try to find this negator called right? Was it Ginny? Right? Her ability, yeah. Her ability. Damn it! It was what was it?
You looking for the actual wording of it?
Yeah. The actual wording of it.
Unchanged.
Yeah, unchanged.
Unchanged.
Yeah, she basically can like keep still a change in, like, she could stop you from kind of changing your move, whether it's like moving or like your state of being, or like even the air, making it solid in place. It's pretty wild. These powers get really conceptual and strange.
Yeah. Well said.
It's there that she's like we get a little bit more reveal that Andy, the undead character, has been captured by these guys before and was studied by them for a while, and he and Unchanged have had this relationship together where conveniently she's asked him to kill her if he ever gets out of there, which I guess saves him from being like a complete murderer. It's like she wanted it. So with her death, both Andy and Fuko are now inducted into the Union, and we start to get a little bit more of the rules of this universe. This organization runs based on this round table, and every now and then they get these missions from this giant book called Apocalypse, and if they complete these missions, they get these rewards that allow them to, I guess, get closer and closer to their goal, which is the paltry goal of killing God himself. So
the paltry goal,
no big deal. All that stuff.
Pretty ambitious, to say the least.
Yeah. They get these quests, and the first quest they go on, well, at least the first quest we see, because all of these guys go on their missions separately and they accomplish a lot of them off screen. We see Andy and Fuko are charged with the responsibility of capturing this UMA, stands for Unidentified Mysterious Animal, something like that.
I say Umas.
Yeah, Umas. They're this Uma called Spoil, which is basically, and these monsters are basically the laws of the universe themselves. Like Spoil is basically rot. The rule of things rot at some point, decompose. There's rules like burn, which is literally fire. All that stuff, and there's always a negator opposing it. There's always like I from what I understand, there's a negator that's always paired with whatever there is. There's an unburn negator apparently. So there's that. So they go to find this Spoil character, and it's a big monster of the week battle, and that's what I figured this story was going to be for a long time, is that it's going to be like a little, here's your mission, go do the mission, and all that stuff,
which is cool. I don't mind that.
I didn't mind it either. And it was an interesting battle. They had to basically understand the rules under which Spoil operates. There's this kind of compelling story with this town that they had to save. It was a cute little story with them. And at some point it gets a little too crazy. Spoil gets super strong, and it's revealed that they can't really beat him unless Undead kind of removes this card that's lodged in his head that in the first chapter kind of gives him super strength and just makes him super strong, but it turns out it is an inhibitor that kind of holds back his first personality, his actual being, known as Victor. And he just comes up, raffle stomp Spoil. But turns out he's also a bad guy, so they can't really let him walk around. And it takes all of the fucking Union members,
the whole round table that was mentioned prior.
Yeah, their whole organization to take them down. And in that moment, we kind of learn a little bit more about certain characters, their powers. There's Unstoppable, who's basically a super speed guy, unless like, but he can't stop moving fast unless he has like a dramatic shift in his posture. So there's moments where he's like running with his arms crossed and stuff like that. And that kind of activates his power in a sense. They don't really get into detail quite yet as to the intricacies of his power, but that's just an example. Yeah, and there's
I guess like the leader of the round table. I guess you could say.
Injustice.
Unjustice, which is a lady, by the way.
Yeah, she basically peers into your soul and whatever you consider justice. If your justice involves anything to do with her, she can just kind of stop it in its tracks. It's kind of weird.
I think she reverses it. Like she flips it.
Yeah,
because she. You want to talk about the space invasion?
Well, first things first. We should actually also get into Untruth. There's a lot of characters. I don't think we should go into all of them, but Untruth is like this guy. I can't. He's just like this overpowered person who can just kind of like control the will of. He can make you do the opposite of what you want to do. That's basically his ability. But the stipulation is that he has to genuinely like you. So
he has to be interested in you, I guess, like fascinated, like very like like you.
Yeah, basically. And that's interesting enough. But yeah, there is this moment after that arc. I forgot about this part, but because they failed one of the missions, Apocalypse, they take a penalty every time they fail any one mission.
It's really
they can accomplish they can accomplish every single one, but if they miss one, they get the full penalty of what they need. They were warned about. One of them was the addition of a UMA, the Rule of Galaxy, and they basically create a galaxy with their failure. And that galaxy breeds a planet out there that has just advanced in its 2 minutes of fucking inception and just invades Earth. This series is wild, dude. Because like the galaxy expands, but it expands with a genuinely long history and like different planets.
As if it had always been there.
Exactly. So yeah, this alien civilization comes down and is like, we're coming here to take over. You will not. If you surrender now, we'll use you as labor force. And Injustice is like, oh, is you taking over our planet your justice? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, cool. Yeah. And then she destroys them all because that's their justice, and she negates the very concept of justice. It's a very semantic.
And it looks at it. So instead of coming to attack Earth and conquer, they destroyed each other because that's the complete opposite of what they believe in. It's a pretty complex concept.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
It makes sense.
I would say
the more like we see it on a like that was a very grand scale. We also see it applied on a small scale as well, where it's it makes sense. It's viable.
Yeah,
and really unique.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah, I think after that, Apocalypse grants them the reward of giving them an 11th seat to the round table, so they can add one more person to their squad, and they decide to go after this guy named Unrepair, and he's basically a criminal and a part of his own organization. He's doing his own thing. He's not really for the Union and what they do. So. But they're going to try it anyway. They go to this black market auction on this boat where they meet Unrepair. And it's Fuko, Andy, and also Untouchable. I forget her real name, but she's this little girl that's stuck inside. Oh, not stuck, but she's placed inside this robot thing. And her ability is, obviously, she's untouchable. She cannot be touched. She just basically creates this big-ass force field that disintegrates anything that comes inside. Yeah, I guess it's pretty strong. I think she could control it too. Where like
she could expand it too.
Yeah, she could control too how much it decimates you. Like I remember that there are two characters who just stand above her, and they're not being destroyed. So it's kind of like just a force field. But yeah, on that boat they meet the Negator, Unrepair, and he he's a dick. So they fight him basically. He's part of this whole organization called Under. And you think he's the boss at the moment, where he's like, oh, cool, a startling new boss enemy they have to face off a little bit. They have to like face off against their own kind. It's interesting. They also meet a new negator on there called Unmove, who's this kind of like cowardly type character. And his ability is, as long as he's not moving and he's looking directly at you, you also cannot move. But it only works if he's also not moving.
You know, shadow possession jutsu vibes.
Yeah, basically. Except shadow possession, you can at least run around and move, but they just copy you.
Yeah, after. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we learn a little bit about Untouchable's past. She was this girl who was, like a lot of the characters in the series, actually ends up murdering her parents using her power by accident. Fuko did the same thing. This Unmoved guy did the same thing. And so did Untouchable. But she was up for auction because people are just like doing that these days, just selling negators to people. And she gets rescued by the Union, and specifically the, I think, third seat on the Union named Billy. He's important down the line.
He's pretty dope too.
Yeah.
Cool design. He got, the shades and the suit and some blickies.
Yeah.
Some revolvers. You know?
It's
gotta love it.
Yeah. So they basically complete kind of the mission. They don't get Unrepair because he's a villain, so they get this Unmoved kid instead. It looks like they end up killing Unrepair up top. Like after this arc is over, they like blast a fucking hole through his chest. But it turns out one of his people seems to have has this like healing effect on folks. So he comes back, but as a younger child somehow. I'll take it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's still early. Perhaps we'll get an explanation.
Yeah.
He himself was like, I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Like, are we not gonna ever get one?
Yeah.
Explanation.
I imagine we will when we get into more battles, but yeah. After that, he just pulls up on them and is just like, "We're gonna do our thing before you get to kill God." You know. I think they're not. Whereas the Union are trying to kill God, I think Under is basically trying to, I guess, harness the power of God. I'm not really sure what their motive is. I don't know if
it's not 100% clear, but it's definitely not specifically to kill God. It's to rule the world and change the rules up, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Before God ultimately destroys the planet,
right?
Which we'll get into later.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll address what that actually means.
Yeah. On top of that expositional onslaught, we get also a sudden betrayal of one of the fucking Union members. Like directly after, it's almost
expositional onslaught. Yo, all right, fun fact, guys. I was actively reading this part when I first got on video with Chris to set up set up a little situation, and I just could not believe it for what I was seeing, for when it went literally from 0 to 100.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It just all of a sudden, Billy, they're all on the round table discussing what they're gonna do about Under, and then Billy's like, "Yo, why don't we just drop a nuke on them?" And they're like, "What?"
Well, they bring up the quest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the round table, because that's what the whole process is about. Just trying to complete quests and gain more advantages in order to defeat God. So.
Yeah, and yeah, Billy just starts wilding out and is like, oh, I'm Eisen now. It turns out I was Eisen this whole time. And it turns out he's the boss of Under.
Yeah, so it turns out he was supposed to be blind. And I guess now he's not. He took the shades off.
Yeah.
And his hair's not gelled back anymore, all chill.
Yeah.
That's all crazy.
Yeah, now he looks more evil. Everybody's heartbroken.
Breaks Tatiana's heart.
Yeah, god damn it.
He saved her.
Oh, that's her name.
And then
Tatiana.
he's like, oh, are you gonna join us? You know, I did save your life, so you kind of owe us one.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
That's mean, dude. Yeah.
They're stunned in disbelief.
Yeah, so, battle ensues. He uses the UMA known as Unburn, which they captured. Oh, Burn, sorry, which they captured earlier in the series off screen. And he basically steals their round table, which is important because they kind of need one, apparently, in order to, summon Apocalypse, get missions, all that stuff. He snatches that, and he bounces, basically, along with the Unrepair Kid. So, yeah, new villain. This is kind of interesting because Unjustice explains that she's also been alive for an extremely long time, because she's used this thing called the Arc, where she reveals that the world is on a loop of constant reconstruction and deconstruction. God constantly destroys and repairs the earth. And she bypasses that by using this artifact known as the Arc in order to experience both sides and, keep trying over. And Andy has just been around forever as Victor. So
because he can't die.
Yeah, because not even the end of the world will kill him. So he'll just always be in the loop. It's kind of wild concept. But yeah, everybody calms down. They kind of get together and they're like stronger than ever. They get a little bit more of a bond going. And they have to do some more shit before they can do missions again. First things first, they have to regain the round table. And one of the things they have to do is they have to go find this book of prophecy that, will tell them basically everything they need to know about how to do things. And it turns out the book of prophecy is this shoujo manga that Fuko has been a fan of since the beginning of the series.
That shit was mad funny.
That was really funny. It's also interesting.
And it was fresh in my mind because I just started reading this a few days ago. So.
Yeah, it's funny because I was also thinking, because at the beginning of the series, she's like, I finally finished my favorite manga ever. I finally read the last chapter. I can die in peace. And I'm like, yo, I appreciate that. I relate to that.
Yeah.
Once One Piece ends, same.
Yeah. I could concur.
Yeah. It's funny though. Okay, so they basically have to go find her, but apparently she's been missing forever, this artist. So what they do is, in a roundabout way of getting info, Fuko recreates the Undead Unluck manga and takes it to Shueisha to try and get information from Shueisha about where this lady went. And it turns out they learned that Fuko points out that, yeah, I noticed at the end of the series it got real weird and the plot wasn't as good, and the editor of that manga was like, oh, so you noticed we actually shelved 3 arcs. And these 3 arcs are the exact problems that they have right now. One of them is Andy's past. One of them is Billy's betrayal. It's not actually named these things. It's like Ando's betrayal. Yeah. It's or Ando's past, or something's betrayal, and the season of the 4 kings. Which I forgot to mention.
4 seasons.
Yeah, there are also these UMAs out there. Each one of them represents a season that they have to take down at some point. So they have to find this mangaka in order to find out what the fuck they have to do now. So they track her down. I think she leaves a message for them to meet them in Canada because that's where she's at. So they just go there because the Union can just travel everywhere. They just go to Canada and they link up with her there. She has this unexplained ability as of yet to whatever she draws comes to life. And she also has all the answers. She confirms yeah, I even know how to kill God. So, let's do the thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Before they can do that, she basically is their Jiraiya. She's their trainer. She's like, I got to train you guys. But first, we're going to take down one of the 4 seasons. And they go after Autumn.
Winter?
Autumn.
Oh.
Autumn.
What? Why?
Autumn,
on,
because
what did Autumn do?
Because Autumn is this big bug creature. And he's right there. He's in Canada, this Autumn thing.
Ew.
He's right down the street. Autumn's already attacking. He has this ability to feed on the I guess, life stories of people. Yeah. So basically, whatever he cuts turns into a book, and then he eats those. Yeah, it's very weird. So they fight this thing, but Undead and Unluck can't really do much against it. They're not strong enough. So basically, this lady, I think her name is An, she just like, let me show you how it's done. She cuts off her own arm, draws Andy's arm, sticks it onto her, and uses his attack just stronger somehow because she's more creative and she can just like exploit his powers in a way that he never even thought, in ways he never thought. Blasts a hole and kills Autumn.
Yo, I gotta read that. I stopped off exactly at chapter 37, right when they pulled up to Shonen Jump, basically, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So she takes them to her hideout, and you know she's basically like, okay, so in order for us to get stronger and better, you need to understand a little bit more about Andy's past. So she takes like this little remnant from Autumn and cuts Andy with it and turns him into a book. And then she just pulls the soul out of Fuko and sends her inside of the book. So she
pulls the soul from her because she can write it that way?
No, she has this artifact implanted in her chest that allows her to do that. It's called Soul Calibur, actually. That's very funny, too.
Ooh, so yeah, like the game. That's pretty dope. Okay. Oh, that was them going into the book together.
Basically, yeah.
For his past. I see.
And the earliest memory and the reason, there's a number on his chest. It's actually the year of his earliest memory, which is 1865. So Andy was in the Old West at a time, and Fuko is able to communicate with him in his memories, but it doesn't change his past. It just gives him a hypothetical situation where he meets her earlier in life. So she has like kind of an effect on his mind that way, where she doesn't change the past, but she implants herself, like the very concept of herself, in his memory and in his mind. She also, at the end of that moment where she's like, she has to go forward in time. She actually meets him. He was part of this posse, this old Wild West posse, who all get killed except for him because he's undead. And we kind of get to see his strife. And it's that typical like immortal thing, is like the worst part about being immortal is saying goodbye to the people you care about all the time, is outliving all of your friends and all that. So yeah, I mean, she basically gives him hope for the future, is that you'll always be meeting people and like me that like really care about you and you care about them and all that stuff. So before she disappears into the future after that, she tells him exactly where to meet him, and in the first chapter. So I wonder if like that's how he knew where she was. But yeah.
Oh yeah, to be over there, right? In the like on that highway in that area, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was willing to say, sure, first chapter shit, whatever.
Yeah.
It can happen. Why not?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think that was like a mechanic to explain that. I feel like that was just a moment so that you could have
it was nice.
Yeah, it was like sweet moment where she was like, I won't know who you are and I won't want to kiss you, but I'll kiss you eventually. And it's all I'm like, aw. So we then cut forward to the future, and she's not going up against Andy this time. She meets Victor. Victor's just there. And he's like, whoops, it's me. And then he just kills her. And it turns out the rules of this is that the more he kills her, the more in the future she skips. So she just keeps going the more times he kills her. And if he kills her in his most recent memory, she really dies. Her soul is evaporated from the earth. So she arrives like kind of, I think on the day they met actually. And he can't find her, so he just destroys this city in his mind. Victor does. Like, he does this cool move where he just shoots his fingernails out, and then it just destroys the entire city. It's pretty crazy.
Whoa!
But luckily, Andy knew where to find her because of what she said in the Old West time. So he basically saves her, and they both fight Victor together. It's a pretty cool sequence. We learned that like he can they come up with this new move where he can transfer his unluck to other people by transferring parts of his soul to like the bullets that he shoots out. So he can shoot unluck bullets essentially.
From from when she touches him.
Yeah.
So that's how they can. Okay.
Yeah, because unluck like affects the soul, not necessarily the physical person. So if he somehow transfers his soul to whatever piece he's shooting out.
So he's learning how to control his soul.
I guess he also learns how to control his blood and make it solid, which is pretty cool.
Damn.
But yeah, after that, Victor's kind of like, all right, you got me. I give up. And he kind of reveals that he and Juiz, I think that's her name, is Huiz Juiz was something. They founded the union together. And he loved her. He loved Injustice. And the reason that he was like turned into a bad guy essentially is that he saw that there was no kind of purpose. There was no way they were going to be able to kill God. So it really made Justice kind of like sad, and it put her in constant danger. And in a weird, twisted way, he was like, yeah, I was trying to kill her because who can sit here and watch the woman they love suffer? You know what I mean? Like, she keeps trying to do this. She's going to get herself killed doing this, and it really hurts her that she can't do anything about it. So, you know, I'm not going to let her do that. And it's pretty dark and deep. But, you know, then Victor's like, I won't interfere anymore. I have hope that you guys may be able to do it. Give it a shot. I don't care. And then he walks away. And that's at that moment, that's when at some point, like, Undead and Unluck actually share a mouth-to-mouth kiss. And the most recent chapter I read, 46, new one came out today, remember? She's leaving the book, and the arc's kind of about to be over now. Undead's like, don't worry about me. I'm going to be merged with the me outside. So, you know, I'll be stronger, and I'll have I'll have even more of a way to woo you, you know? So yeah, and that's where I left off. That's where that's where the series left off where I last read it. And now I guess general thoughts about the series. I really like this series. There's points where I really like where it's going for. I think the power system in this series is very ambitious, and very interesting.
Yeah, ambitious while also not, being controlled, which I really like.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like when there's an established, clear rule set.
Right.
And they literally say rules.
Yeah.
as they explain each other's abilities.
Yeah, the fights are fun. It is mostly action too. Like, it's not like super dialogue heavy. It's a lot of fighting a lot of the time. So it's fun that way. I really like the action too. I really like the art. The art is like very old school without looking outdated to me. I really enjoy that. It's got this weird, like, it looks like a old Dragon Ball, kind of like Dragon Ball Z type vibes. I very much dig it. I have a couple of cons. I feel like this story, there are at least 2 points in this manga where I feel like Tozuka, the mangaka, was literally snatching this series from the jaws of cancellation. Like, I know at least 2 points where I'm like, oh man, he was moving. He was trying to.
Yeah, he had to.
And I think
he is moving on.
Yeah, I think it was the point where Victor first shows up, and Billy's betrayal, because it doesn't feel like these are like ass pulls or nothing, but it does feel like.
But they feel like it happened earlier than it was.
I feel like he put them ahead of schedule because he needed a peak interest in the series. And strangely enough, given that, if that's the truth, I don't know. That's just like, I've been reading manga a long time, and I feel like I could just sense these things sometimes. But if that's the truth, he did pretty good regarding the circumstance, like despite the circumstance. Like, he really, it didn't ultimately feel like it didn't piss me off, I wasn't like, he really fucking pressed fast forward, it felt somewhat kind of natural-ish. Which, is a lot to say. A lot of manga can't really pull that off. So,
I'll tell you this: as I was reading it, now I don't know how it would have felt week to week, because we all know it is a different experience. But as I was reading it, I felt it, but it didn't leave me sour. You know what I'm saying? All it did was kind of, I guess, do exactly what he wanted, which was light the fire and really boost the intrigue. I mean, I'll tell you this. the shit with Billy with his betrayal. I think that I like that one more than the Victor reveal because he's super overpowered and all of that, and he's like he's a monster. He's someone that I see as like a plot point towards the end that's going to be an obstacle and where like kind of an annoying obstacle, I guess you could say, like where everything would be fine, but then now he has to deal with his other personality taking over. But it seems like they already addressed that.
Yeah,
going back in the past with the memory, so I'm impressed. Like that was actually like one of my only worries as soon as he got revealed. But the shit with Billy, I was just like, oh, okay, this gives them a really like a super established enemy, and it kind of shakes it changes the status quo of what the what is it not under the other organization,
the Union.
Yeah, it shakes the status quo of what they're used to dealing with, and it turned it from being just this one after another another to kind of this battle royale.
Yeah, so, I didn't hate it at all either. I could just feel it though. That was the only thing.
They switched the gears pretty early, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, under the circumstances, he did a pretty good job of what he had to do. Like he did what he had to do, and he did it well. I mean, that's the only thing that takes away from it is that I feel like if we spent an arc with Billy or like we had a little bit more time dedicated to him, this betrayal could have hit a lot harder because I was interested in Billy. Like we had little moments with him that like across the series, but nothing really that defined him as a character. I mean, it just that shit like that kind of just like fucks up the pacing, and it's not really his fault. It's not really Tozuka's fault. You have like these rules in Jump. You have to hit certain rankings to be kind of safe, and you have to do what you have to do to stay there. So if that's the truth, and this is all conjecture, but if that's the truth, I commend him for doing it as well as he could, and I'm very interested to see what the story still has to offer. I mean, he still has plans, like he has like a lot of goals set up. We have to defeat the remaining 3 seasons. We have to defeat Billy, and then we have to go after God. There's still a lot to unpack with Undead Unluck. The only other con I really have is that the romantic situation in this series is a little weird.
Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. So,
I mean, okay.
It feels like this sets back like I don't even know what word to properly use. I don't even want to.
I mean, honestly, I'll
put it like this: it's very, very creepy.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: it's not like a new thing, and he's not the only one who's ever done this. But
no, of course not.
At the same time, if we're gonna rip on Twilight and shit like that for it, it's got to be a point against like Undead Unluck. That even if Andy isn't 200 years old, he looks 40, trying to pursue a genuine romantic relationship with Fuko. And I guess like not that this makes it better, but I guess like to ease the wound a little bit, Andy could have been younger, like or look younger physically. But it's still weird. But now that I thought about it, and that's a point I just thought about, is like, how much can we really shit on them for that? Because there's so many series who do the same thing.
I mean, I can tell you why. I mean,
it is weird as hell.
A little bit more to why we can shit on it more. I mean, so I'll tell you this: I didn't even really harp on it too much myself about like how he clearly looks a lot older than Shorty. But when you combine that with what I was mentioning before, where like her age was pretty ambiguous. I mean, maybe I need to go back to the first chapter or something, but I don't think she ever clearly said how old she was or at what point in life she was. We knew she was at least a teen that was quote unquote developed, but she could pass for a young girl. You know what I'm saying? Especially in a fucking manga, right?
Well, she's definitely young.
And here you got this dude that clearly looks very like much way beyond older. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where you say like not like on the wrong side of 30.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For sure.
I mean, dude, it's creepy as hell, and it doesn't help that he's like genuinely weirdly sexually harassing her up top.
Yes. And it's all right. It's I guess a different culture from
I
I
guess.
guess and just no from just Japan and what they believe is like funny and stuff. And it's not like I'm so uptight that I can't see the humor in it. It's just kind of like, whoa, that's
Ugh.
really bold, my guy. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I'm not taking offense to it because it's fake, and I don't think it encourages that type of behavior. But it's also not a good look.
no, yeah, I agree.
You know,
I agree. It's so weird, and it makes it. I mean, I feel like I'm more like putting that concern in a corner a lot of the time when I'm reading this. And I guess to be fair, it's not as so fucking explicit down the road. Like he really calms down, but he's still genuinely trying to make this 18-year-old fall in love with him, looking like 40 and also being 200 and some fucking immortal years old.
Well, at the same time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's not like they have. It's funny because we mentioned it earlier, the main character Fuko, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. So she's really into shoujo manga, and she, a lot of her ideals are placed around that. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he doesn't try. He puts in a maximum effort, to woo her and romance her and all of that. And I said it's great job because it's not that easy.
Yeah.
IRL.
Yeah.
So he's at least doing all of that, and it's not like it's just mixed. It's just that the creepiness is just mixed in. It's like you're making this really nice stew.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm gonna pour some of this other shit real quick.
See how that tastes.
I don't know, like, why are you adding this shit?
And it tastes creepy.
If I actually cooked, I could have came up with something more detailed.
Yeah.
If only Brian was around. Shout out to Chef Brian.
Yeah, miss Chef Brian. But yeah, I mean, overall though, it's a very fun series. I can see why you guys all voted for it. So welcome to the lineup, Undead Unluck.
Word up, man! I can't wait to catch up.
I hope it doesn't get canceled because I'm always so concerned. This is what I meant last week, where I was like, I'm sus about this. I don't know how long it's gonna last.
Oh, that's what you meant.
I don't know how long it's gonna last because there are 2 points where I'm like, yo, it's definitely trying to save itself, and I do keep up with like the rankings of Jump, and I can see that sometimes it's on the lower end of the spectrum, and then it pops up in the middle, and then it goes back down, and then it goes up. So I'm just like, yo, last.
It peaks around the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it a couple times go pretty high, and I think Jump is
what's over it.
A lot of things. Well, a lot of things are over it.
Magu-chan.
I think Magu-chan is over a lot of things.
What about the Robo one?
Roboco is also weirdly over a lot of things.
I think it's just really funny, and
yeah, I mean,
really appeals to the kids. You know what I'm
thing.
saying? Yeah, I think.
But anyway, I would say, yeah, pick it up. I mean, it's a fun read. Nonetheless, it's like a lot of fun action.
It's really sus. It's just really sus.
Yeah, it
is a fun series. I hope it doesn't end.
Yeah, me neither. I think it's fine because Jump has been trying to has put more investment in these new kids on the block. Like Mashal and Undead Unluck. It really put its back into trying to get it out there and get its ranking up. But I think there's a limit to how
way
much,
less pressure on the act.
Mori King just got canceled. Like the last chapter is this week of Mori King. So, and that lasted almost a year, I think. So, and not that Mori King was bad, but I feel like given its rankings, it would have been canceled a long time ago earlier in life,
Yeah, when it was just in one compact magazine.
Yeah.
But there was only so much space. Now, it's very similar to with a lot of sports these days, opening up the playoff field.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
You got 10 spots in the NBA instead of 8. And
it's true.
And they gave an extra play-in for the NFL. Feel me? They let these guys, you're giving them a little bit more room.
And I love that.
To scrap it out.
Oh, we have 3 more series coming. 3 new series are starting in the next week.
Damn.
Yeah, I think it's a cycle. They bring new series in every few months or so.
Every quarter, maybe?
Yeah, maybe every quarter. But I mean, that's all I got to say about Undead Unluck. You all good? You want any closing thoughts, Josh?
Just some more boasting about it. I mean, it's really fun. Did I mention how I love the power system?
Yeah, the power system's fun as shit, dude.
Dude, one of the characters. Okay, you mentioned before his name. His code name, I guess, is Untruth, or that's what his ability is.
Yeah, that's a Chinese kid.
Yeah, he's a martial artist, right? And he's really clever because he has to kind of dictate the opponent's movement in such a way that it would be unfavorable for them to strike. Like, it's not something that he just, it's not like he's shooting blasts from his hands and he's just super strong or can run through everything. He's calculative and he just gets to the point really fast, I guess, as far as leading people in. Like, the first thing we seen, like, all right, Undead, he can, the creepy 40-year-old dude, by the way, and the main Andy. Character, he can scrap. He's no chump. Plus, he could regenerate from anything. He can't die, right? That's a big deal. But he was at a stalemate with this guy in one of the earlier chapters. He was just like, you know what? Let's not even fight. I got the upper hand anyway. Yeah. Why don't you go kill one of my homies instead and join them?
Yeah, which is weird. I still don't know why.
That was more like that was the second chapter.
Yeah, he was genuinely like, go kill my friend. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. He's like, go ahead, go smoke her.
And it's weird because like later he has this like camaraderie with everybody else. And I'm like, did you just not like her? It's not really explained why he just does that.
And then Tatiana was mad. Yeah, so check this out, right? Tatiana was tight because she wanted to set it off on Undead because he was the one that killed her. And then, like, basically, Fuko, the female unlucky chick, she was trying to cop a plea and say, like, listen, like, it was really my fault because she was attacking me and he was defending me. Mm-hmm. So, like, you should be mad at me. So she didn't want to hold a grudge against Fuko because she understood. She got over it eventually. But I'm thinking in the back of my mind, like, yo, does she know that this nigga gave it up? Like, literally, like, snitched just a few chapters
Yeah, for real.
Oh, my God. That was genuinely funny.
Yeah.
He didn't say a word.
Yeah, he's like...
I can't remember. Yeah, Untruth. I don't remember his actual name.
Yeah, but he's pretty high on the shiesty spectrum, I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty high.
Yeah. Just my type. This is my type of character, man.
But
so I also really enjoy the penalty aspect.
Yeah.
I just want to break that down a little bit more. All right, so the penalty / reward, right? Mm-hmm. The way these things work is that they affect the whole world, and except for these negators, like you mentioned before. So there was one reward they got, which from catching one of the Uma beasts, and it made the whole world unify in language. Now everyone spoke English.
I remember that.
But they still spoke whatever their native languages were, which for the most part was Japanese. Mm-hmm. But this dude spoke Chinese. Mm-hmm. So, like, he couldn't even go on certain missions because he didn't know how to speak English.
Yeah.
Only, like, Japanese and Chinese. And I was just like, wow, like, it's really clever. And I wonder how the next Uma beasts are going to affect.
Yeah. I wish we had more missions like that where it was just, like, maybe 2 or 3 more of those basic quests just to really, live in the world, you know?
Yeah, hopefully we'll get back to that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we do have quests.
More stipulations if he can maintain a foothold.
Yeah, I think once they get the round table back, they'll get, like, because that's the whole point of getting the round table back is so they can do the quests again. So, yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying this series. I can't wait to read more. You ready to close it out, boy?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, and that has been
guys.
Our show. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you so much for voting for Undead Unluck. We're so happy to have it on the lineup.
Good luck for the recommendation.
You guys are 2 for 2. First was Chainsaw Man, and now it was Undead Unluck. You guys are doing it. You can find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Josh at JDCole_37. Brian at B.ESP. Follow us at New Jump City. Vote on our poll. I'm putting it up later today. Email us at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, or comment on the video below. Yeah, I think that's it. 5-star reviews all around on iTunes. Give us that Spotify follow, subscribe to us, all that stuff. You know what to do. Take care, guys, and stay safe, New Jump citizens.
If the Browns beat Kansas, are you gonna throw that hat away?